when I decided to do Veda, that I was gonna do a video every day for the month of April, I really intended to be a little bit more transparent, perhaps, than I usually am, and I'm pretty transparent, I think, in the social media world and in my real life with my clients. But you know, there are definitely things that I go through and that everyone goes through that they don't share. You know, basically what I've been going through right now is dealing with my Hashimoto's, which I mentioned in my first video. I have a chronic illness called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disorder, and also hypothyroidism, which means my thyroid gland is underactive. And I was diagnosed the first time about 2 years ago and didn't really take it seriously. I just didn't want to think of myself as someone who was sick. I didn't want to take a pill every day for the rest of my life. And I didn't really take it seriously, and I didn't take my medication consistently, and I kind of just let it go. Fast forward a year later, and by this point in time I was having some pretty significant symptoms related to hypothyroidism. Severe cold intolerance, fatigue, irritability, brain fog, where I just can't quite focus. And that's not like me. You know, I'm someone who lives a really, really healthy lifestyle, and you know, used to being really active and really energetic, and I just wasn't feeling right. Honestly, I just felt like I knew something was wrong. So I finally went and saw an endocrinologist and was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. My levels, they measure your TSH, had more than doubled in the year that I'd let this go. So I had, you know, knowing that I'd had it and not following through with the proper treatment, it got a lot worse. So I finally took it seriously enough to start my medication, but since then, it's been an up and down, and anybody with hypothyroidism can relate. You start your medication and then they have to get your levels right, and you may feel better for a while and then you start to feel worse again. And I just wasn't getting the help I needed from my doctor, who was satisfied with my lab results. Despite the fact that I don't feel well, I'm still struggling with a lot of my symptoms. So I sought out an integrative medicine doctor who I'm working with now, who is helping me understand what triggered my hypothyroidism in the first place, you know, why my body is attacking itself, and treating that first, so that we can then treat some of the, it's like a snowball effect, you know, you start with your root cause, that blows out your thyroid, which then affects your adrenals. Digestion is a huge player in that. So there are other issues going on, but he basically said until we address the major trigger, we're putting a Band-Aid on something that needs stitches, you know. So, you know, for me, the biggest issue has always been stress and anxiety. I have been a worrier my whole life. I mean, as a little kid, I was always afraid of thunderstorms, and if there was a tornado watch or a tornado warning, I was a ball of nerves, you know, just in my stomach, and really anxious. And this has continued. It's better now probably than it was 5+ years ago. It used to be a lot worse. But it's better, but I still, you know, I'm an entrepreneur and I run my own business, and that in and of itself is very stressful, and you feel a lot of expectation and a lot of pressure, and sometimes it's hard, you know, not to take things personally, even though they're not personal. And if you're not the kind of person who deals with that well, or you're the kind of person who's going to stress a lot about, you know, money and progress, that becomes difficult. So I've been stressed a lot lately about work and my business, and, you know, are we growing? And we have, my husband and I run my business together, and we have really big goals and dreams and things that we want to do. And it's, you know, you have to be patient. These things take time, but it's hard. Excuse me. It's hard because I just want it to happen, and then I feel like if it doesn't, or if I'm not bringing in new clients, it's my fault. And I'm letting him down, and, you know, other people down, and, you know, it's a difficult thing every day, and you can put a lot of pressure on yourself. Well, that stress and that pressure, then I don't sleep well. That affects my digestion, which affects my adrenals, which is again contributing to the thyroid issue, which then causes me to have these symptoms. And, you know, what are the symptoms? So The cold intolerance I've struggled with for a long time. It's better. I mean, it's not to the point, there were days last fall where I'd be working with clients, I could barely focus. I was so cold. And this is with layers of clothing on, and it's 50 degrees outside. Now it's better. I mean, I have learned that I just have to be prepared and I have to take care of myself. And I wear 3 and 4 shirts and 2 pairs of pants and leg warmers, and I'll keep my coat on at the gym if I need to. But the other day I just thought, I'm so tired of being cold. It's that feeling when, and anybody who has hypo will relate to this, I don't want air blowing on me. If there's a fan, even if it's not particularly cold, that air, or turning off the shower and going to get the towel and the cold air from the bathroom, it's like being poked or bitten on your body. Just like the sensation is so unpleasant. And then the other thing I've been dealing with is fatigue. Even though, I don't sleep fantastically, but I've been making a point to be in bed 8 hours a night. And even if I sleep, I don't feel rested. Like right now, so it's 9:30 in the morning. I've been up for about 3 hours, had breakfast. I don't feel like I could go to sleep, but I just feel like, God, if I had to get up right now and like jog around the block, I couldn't do it. And this is someone who used to work out twice a day. I just feel like my body just feels tired. And yesterday I took a day off from the gym, so it's not that. My body feels achy. And then brain fog. When I'm trying to write a couple articles for a publication I write for, and it's just not, things just aren't coming quite clearly. You just don't feel focused. You don't feel driven. And depression, and that comes along with the stress. I'm down about business not being great. We didn't have a terrible first quarter, but I always want more, and I believe in my business so much, and I love it so much, and I just want it to grow. I just want to get the message out there, and it was a little disappointing. So that's been bringing me down a little bit. Sorry. So anybody out there with a chronic illness, fatigue, I feel you, and you're not alone. And even though people can't see it, we are sick, and that's okay. But don't make yourself a victim. My message to myself every day is don't be a victim. This doesn't have to define you. I'm just going to keep fighting for answers and hope I can find a solution. I'm going to try a new medication here and see if that helps. And I'm going to go do some therapy to deal with my stress issues, because that's the root of all of this, is learning how to manage stress and anxiety. Look, it's not going to get easier, running your own business is hard, but I want to love it, and I want to feel that burning fire of let's do this and let's keep going, rather than feeling like I have to hide from it because it's hard and it makes me feel inadequate.